Hey everybody, welcome to Beyond Bricks, the now second episode. So I think it's interesting, and I always told you guys I was gonna be very realistic with everything on here. So anytime you do something for the first time, I believe in review. I believe in take a look and see what happens, and look back and think through all the things that you did wrong. And it's funny, I'm actually gonna change something on my phone. I'm gonna start because one of my things that I did is I didn't know how long I was talking. So a couple of things that we changed immediately, which I'm enjoying. One, I want to know how long this is going. So little things like, hey, let's have some stopwatch in view. Let's have a few more notes on the table. Let's change the height of the camera. Let's work on the height of the microphone. Let's work on lighting a little bit. Those are the kind of things that we took a look the first time to see, okay, what can we improve upon? I say that point though to say that I'm going to challenge you guys to improve. That's what this whole thing is about. The whole point of this podcast and the whole reason for doing this, and the one of the big whys on doing this is that this is about improvement. And I believe I'm going to improve along the way as well. I cannot wait. My team actually put on the calendar for next year the 1 year anniversary of recording our very first podcast so that we can sit back and watch it and listen to it and see how far we've come. Because how fun is it to review where you were to where you are now? I think that's a really, really enjoyable task and something that I don't think we do enough of. And taking the time to think back and think where you've come, it shows growth. It shows that you are making strides and making steps in the right direction. And that's just something I always want to do. It's something I want to be committed to. It's something that I want to have regularly in my life. So as we ended the last podcast, if you listen to that when I was talking about foundation, I was talking about the foundation that you have set in your life. And I mentioned something called my non-negotiables, which is my foundation. Um, Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand upon that. I'm going to expand upon that theory. I'm going to explain something that was taught to me by my mentor, and that I have developed a little bit of him mixed with a little bit of me into the things that I have internally digested and decided are the non-negotiables of my life. And it's split into two categories. So the two categories this is split into, guys, it's a power number. You'll hear me say this throughout the podcast as a power number 37. I did use the exact same power number as Ben. So Ben Wilson, he is going to be, if he does me the honor, a fairly regular guest on this podcast. I cannot wait to introduce you guys to him, the things that he has taught me over the years. I've been so blessed to have him and his entire family in my life for a very long time. And I have learned and grown in spades. I mean, just unbelievable the growth that I've had because I know him. I'm a better person because I know him, and I'm a better, more defined version of myself because I know him. And he has been telling me these things for, gosh, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. He's been going through these with me. I've watched him develop these and I've watched them breathe into his life. But guys, it wasn't until about 6 months ago that I truly embraced this as something that I was going to live into my life. Last year, through the year of 2023, I had a very difficult year, probably the hardest year of my entire life. I had one of those years where it felt like everything that could go wrong did go wrong. It's a lot of things just didn't go right. I had a lot of change. I was going through a lot of mental and emotional struggle inside that. And guys, I I kind of lost who I was. I forgot who I was. I forgot the best parts of me. I lost a lot of the best parts of really who I was. And it was at the end of the year, I had something snap. I had something change in my brain. Um, and that's the first thing. The first thing that you have to learn when you're building your foundation is you have to have a day where you decide enough is enough. You have to decide. You have to make a decision. Do you want to or do you not want to be great? I was on a coaching call with Ben no more than 15 minutes ago, and the first thing he said to our entire crew is, do you want to truly deep down inside, do you want to be great? Want to know how I answered that question? I said, you want to know what? This time last year, I don't think I did. I think I said I did. I think I pretended. I think I was telling myself I did, but I did not. I don't think I actually wanted to be great. I think I was scared. I think I was scared of what it would mean, what it would do, what things it would change in my life, the tough decisions I would have to make along the way. I wasn't quite willing to challenge myself. I was good with being good. Even though I was saying that I wanted to be great, I was good with being good. Now, guys, I want to be great. Now I am going to embrace great. I'm going to take the time to every single day find a way to be great. So I was able to answer that question and say, yes, I do. I want to be great. I have to be great. I don't know how not to. I'm not going to live my life that way. So my decision changed. What happened is I was sitting in my house. We moved into a new home about 3 years ago. And for the first 2.5 years of living in that home, my home office was in complete shambles. It was literally borderline a storage closet where I had a bunch of work stuff and I had a bunch of things inside there. And I didn't even have a desk. But what I decided to do towards the end of the year, this is in November of this last year, I was like, you know what, I'm going to put together my office, because one of the things that I want to do that I have to change is I need to spend a little more time with my family. I need to spend more time with my kids. My kids are 3 and 7 years old, and they are not getting any younger. The days are going by so much faster. They're moving along constantly. And so I need to be able to be more present in their lives. So I decided I got to get a home office. So I go to set up my home office. I go in there and I spend an entire day. It was a Sunday. I remember it like it was yesterday. I go in there and I start putting things together. I've been collecting golf balls for a decade of courses that I played. So I start putting up those, which is memories. I start putting things on the wall that are memories, great memories. I go behind and I'm setting up the stuff that's behind me in my home office, and I'm setting up records. My grandfather was massively into music. He passed away quite a while ago, and so did my uncle. They were both into music, and they're a lot of the reason I have a huge love for music. And I'm going through and setting up and categorizing their records and putting ones up in my office. And I put some of them on, and I'm listening to records, putting my office together, putting up pictures, putting up memories. And something clicked in my head is this is what it's all about. I'm an extension of the legacy of my family. I'm an extension of the legacy that people have come before me and done. I want to create a legacy that goes past and beyond me. I can't do that in the way that I'm living right now. I could not do that in the way that I was living. I couldn't do it in the way that I was just kind of drifting. And all of a sudden it clicked. I went, oh my gosh, there you are. You're back. You're back. You're back to the person that you were meant to be. What on earth? Where have you been? What, where have you been? And that was my day. It was my day of change, my day of reckoning. I mean, it was my come to Jesus moment where I was like, holy cow, I've turned a complete corner. And guys, I've been on fire since then. I have completely changed emotionally, my mental state. 2 days later, I'd hired a trainer again, decided I was going to get back into great shape. I'm doing everything, eating better. I mean, really trying to make conscious decision. But that's when I really, really made a commitment to this foundation and to the 37, the power of 37. And that's what I want to share with you guys today. So the first thing is, what's the big thing you need to change? What's something that you have to do? What it is you have to decide. You have to make a conscious decision. So the first challenge of today, the number one challenge of today is, do you want to be great? Do you? If you're listening to this podcast, I'm going to guess that you probably have at least some desire to be great, but truly deep down inside, do you? And are you willing to then put in the work to do that? So the foundation is where we're going to go today. The foundation, without a great foundation, like we said in the last podcast, the brick wall that's behind me, the 100-year-old brick wall, is not standing up. It's not standing up and still holding this awesome office in downtown Rochester. It's not doing that. It's not here to support and take care of my team and have a great space for us to work inside of. It's not here if the foundation of this building isn't strong. So the foundation of my life is this number. So the first thing is the 3. What does the 3 number represent? So it's 3 key characteristics that I will no longer waver on. If you do not have these 3 characteristics, I'm not sure we are going to be able to be in relationship. Relationships are crazy important to me, and growing in depth of relationship and being a part of other people's lives is so unbelievably important to me. But if you don't have these three things, I am not going to commit to developing our relationship any longer. I'm not going to commit to developing that relationship because I can't. I only have so much time. I only have so much I'm willing to do. And frankly, I only have so much energy that I can give. And I have found that people that don't meet these three key characteristics, they do not give me energy. In fact, they do the opposite. They rip energy out of my life. They pull it out like a vampire. They literally suck the energy and the life right out of me. I was letting people do that. I was letting a lot of people be a big part of my life that were ripping the energy right out of me, sucking the soul right out of me. So I first said, I've got to define this for me. So the very first thing to me is I want to be around positive people. I have got to be around positive people because positive breeds positive. When you're around positive people, it's hard to be down and upset and sad. I don't want to be around people who just aren't happy. So first thing is, are people happy? Are you a positive person? Are you somebody that sees the world in a good light? Do you love your life? Are you positive? Are you someone that is willing to be a positive light in others' lives? So the first thing I'm looking for is positivity. Man, are you positive? The second thing I'm looking for, and I love this one, is are you competitive? But not just competitive like you think of inside of sports. Competitive inside of sports is I'm going to crush my opponent. Do I like that? Sure. But is that the big key one for me? No, because I believe in being competitive with yourself. The person that you need to be the most competitive with is you. So I am looking for, and I want to surround myself and be a part of people's lives who are internally competitive. I want people who are internally competitive, who every day are finding a way to be better. 2024, I'm calling this Mamba mentality. It's the big theme of my team. Kobe Bryant, his legacy, I'm telling you, has borderline nothing to do with basketball, in my opinion. I believe his legacy that he left on this earth is the idea and the concept of the Mamba mentality. The Mamba mentality, the definition of that we've put down is a constant quest to be the best version of yourself. A constant quest, not just to be the best person of yourself, like a quest. It's the journey. Kobe always said it was the journey that mattered. Are you focusing on the journey of being better? So I want to be around people that are internally competitive, that are going to say, I am going to go out there and be the best version of myself. I'm so internally competitive that I'm not willing to settle for anything else but greatness. Are you internally competitive? Are you trying to be the best you can be? Are you giving it all? Are you doing everything you can do to be the best version of you? So are you internally competitive? And the third thing, I need to be around people who have integrity. I just have to. And that's not saying that I have to be around people who are perfect, because goodness knows I am a completely broken individual. I am as far from perfect. I mean, I'm far from perfect, guys. We all are. If we're honest with ourselves, we all have issues and struggles and things that are tough for us. But are you a good person? That's integrity for me. Are you a good person? Are you trying to make the world better? Deep down inside, are you a good person? We all know, we meet people that we know aren't good people. We know it. Now they can be a lot of fun. We can, you can meet someone, you're like, wow, that person was a lot of fun, but I probably shouldn't hang out with that dude very often. Like I'm not convinced he's a good person, right? Um, are they self-aware? Right? I think self-awareness is a big part of being a good person. Are you someone who is constantly blaming other people? Guys, I don't do victims anymore. I'm not willing to have a victim in my life anymore. People that aren't willing to take personal accountability for their things. That to me is integrity. Integrity is being willing to understand where you are and who you are and the things that that make you who you are. So are you self-aware? Are you aware of who you are and who you're presenting out there in the world? And what would people say about it? What would people say about you? So that's for me. That's my first three things. That's my first criteria. That's the who do I want in my life? I want people who are positive, who are internally competitive, and people of high integrity. I think if I'm around those people for the rest of my life, I am going to be a better person. I just won't be able not to be a better person. I'm going to have to be a better person, because if everyone around me is like that and I'm the sum of the people that I'm around, I'm going to live a pretty great life. And I think that I can help them and they can help me. We live in this beautiful circular space when everybody that's around me has those three criteria. So those are the first three things. It's the first three. So for you, define for yourself, what are 2, 3, 4 things that are important for you, that the people you're going to surround yourself with, what are the characteristics that they need to have in order for you to be the best version of yourself? So then the next is 7. It's the 7 non-negotiables. This is the second half of the foundation. The 7 non-negotiables that I will have in my life. They're written right over there. For those who are listening or those who are watching, they're literally over on the wall here in clear English. We had them. I've changed them recently. I've updated them. They fit what I believe is myself. And like I said, this is a little bit of Ben Wilson in here, because a lot of these I've learned from him. I shook a couple of them up because they land a little more me. But a lot of these are ones that we met and that he developed, and he developed them from a book right here called The Slight Edge. You can see it behind me. It's an incredible book. If you haven't read it, you should. The Slight Edge is a life-changing book. If you haven't read it, I can't recommend it highly enough. But the 7 non-negotiables that I have in my life, very first thing is show up. How many people in the world don't just show up? It seems very basic. It seems silly, but you know, people don't show up every day. Like they're late constantly. They don't show up big. They show up, but they're not really there. They're just kind of putting in the motions. You know, they're checking the time clock, but they're not really doing anything. So are you showing up every day? Are you showing up big? Are you showing up for the people around you? Or showing up for your family? Are you showing up for the people that you work with? So the first thing, a non-negotiable in my life, is show up. You got to show up. The second thing is you got to be consistent. Consistency matters, but if you're not, you can show up, but if you don't show up consistently, does it really matter? People are actually going to kind of, call BS. They're going to call crap on that. They're going to be like, look, yeah, you showed up once or twice, but then the other 3 days you didn't. You know how hard it is to get in shape if you don't show up consistently? If you don't have consistency inside a diet, you don't have consistency inside the gym, you are not going to be in shape. Showing up 2 or 3 times and then taking 2 weeks off is not going to get anyone in shape. It's going to get you really sore for a couple days, but it is not going to have you be someone who is healthy. So showing up is first, but the second thing is you got to show up consistently. You have to be consistent. After that is number 3 is have a great attitude. What's the attitude you're bringing to the table every day? Attitude is one thing that you can absolutely control. You do not have to have a special set of skills to have a great attitude. You don't. You either have a great attitude or you don't, but you can make a conscious decision to have a great attitude. And your great attitude shouldn't have to depend on all the things that are happening in your life, because you can have a lot of bad things happen and still choose to have a great attitude. I had the honor of serving over in Africa. You'll hear me reference Africa a lot because it's very near and dear to my heart. I got a chance to work with a group called Made in the Streets, where we worked with homeless children. And guys, their attitude was unbelievable. These kids had nothing. They were homeless, living on the streets at 7, 8, 9 years old. And they had some of the best attitudes. They were happy. They had some of the best attitudes out there. They had every right in the world to have a terrible attitude and be angry and be like, man, look at what the world has served me. But they didn't. They were happy. They had a great attitude. So do you have a great attitude? Number 4, be committed. Be commitment. Have some commitment in your life. Are you committed to the things that you're doing? Goal setting. This is the reason why it's February now, guys. How many of you listening out there have given up on your goals already? Who's still going to the gym? How many of you are still going to the gym and notice that there's a lot less people now than there was a month ago? It happens. Why? Because they weren't really committed. You just set some goals. You can set goals all you want, but if you don't have commitments, you will not finish anything. Because setting goals is not what gets you there. Committing to those goals is what gets you there. Being committed and being committed for the long haul, being committed for a long period of time, saying, this is who I am now. I'm committed for the long haul. I'm in this no matter what. That's commitment. Being committed for the long haul. The 4th thing is do the right thing. Or 5th thing, excuse me, is do the right thing. We all know what the right thing is. We do. We know when we're doing right. We know when we're doing wrong. We do. I honestly believe that. That's a part of integrity. We know when we're messing up. We still do it anyway sometimes. But you want to know what? when you are going through and making decisions and you're doing things on a daily basis, are you doing the right thing? And it's not just necessarily the right thing for you. Are you doing the right thing for other people? Are you doing the right thing for your company? Are you doing the right thing for your family? What is the right thing? Inside every decision, I believe there is a right decision. Is there gray area? Maybe, but I think you always know what the right thing is. So do the right thing. The sixth thing that is super important to me, this is a huge part of my life, huge part of my life. Have fun. If I'm not having fun, I'm not interested. Honestly, guys, I'm not interested if I'm not having fun. I have got to find a way to have fun in every single thing that I do. I love fun. I love having a good time, and I want to be around people who like to have fun and have a good time. So have fun is super important. And the last thing, guys, and this is kind of where I'm going to wrap things up as a part of my foundation, is you have to believe. You have to believe that it's possible. You have to have internal belief. You have to believe that the things you're doing are right. You have to believe that you can win. You have to believe that it's possible. This is straight out of Ted Lasso. I love that show dearly. I surround myself with Ted Lasso quotes. The positivity that's brought in that show, I can't get enough of. But believe. Do you believe in what you're doing? Do you believe that the things that you are doing are right? Do you believe that where you are at is right? Do you believe that you can do something great? Do you believe that you are great? Do you believe? And I think that's something that you have to cross-reference every day. You have to find a way to believe. So, guys, this is the building of your foundation. Take the time, start writing things out. What are the things? What are the key characteristics? I will tell you the same thing that Ben told me. If you don't have any and you're not sure what they are and you're on this path and this journey, borrow mine. Borrow them, steal them, take them. They're yours now. Anything I put out here, it's yours now. Take it and steal it and start working on it and start checkpointing every decision that you make. Am I committed to this? Am I willing to commit to this? Am I going to show up? Am I going to be consistent? Can I do that? Will I have a great attitude if I'm doing that? Do I believe? Right? Use this as a checkpoint. If you meet someone new, are they positive? Do they have integrity? Right? Are they internally competitive? Have these things in your head and start to checkpoint your life and make sure that the things that you're doing line together, because this is the foundation of who you are. It's the foundation of what you're going to be, and it's the foundation of the legacy that you get to leave on the world. And you have to decide for you. Because, guys, I want you to be the best version of you. I want to be the best version of me, and I want the same thing for you. I want you to go be everything you can be. And I'm going to leave you with this is I'm going to say, I want you to go be yourself. Go out into the world and be yourself because the world needs you. Have a good day, guys.